When you're thinking about minimalism, you're probably thinking about all the stuff that you have. So, what's a minimalist lifestyle? I'm Dara. I help people live a more minimalist lifestyle so they can focus on what matters most without getting overwhelmed along the way. If you like to live a more simpler life, keep tuning into videos like this. You can choose to adopt minimalism only as it pertains to your stuff. So just focused on downsizing the number of items that you own. Or you can take it a step further and take this more holistic approach of having a minimalist lifestyle. That not only means your entire lifestyle will be simpler, your whole life we're looking at everything, and by doing that, you'll be able to make better, more informed decisions about the actual things, the actual objects that you want to own and that you will be keeping in your home. The four main areas of a minimalist lifestyle that I'll be covering in this video are relationships, finances, your career, and your to-do list and calendar and pretty much anything that organizes how you spend your time. Before we get into each of these in more detail, remember, all of these things connect to your values and connect to what is most meaningful to you. Relationships. Now, I'm not just talking about those lovey-dovey relationships, the romantic ones. I'm talking about friends, I'm talking about family members, I am talking about maybe a romantic partner. Whatever is most important to you, the people in your life that surround you, these are the people that we want to look at. I know some of these relationship rules are gonna sound pretty obvious. That's because they are, but we do tend to forget the most obvious things. That's why I'm here to remind you. Okay, number one is if you don't like someone, don't be friends with them. How many of you have friends or acquaintances that you don't particularly care for, but you have a laundry list of why maybe you should still kind of be friends with them or have them as an acquaintance? And I'm sure all of those reasons are completely sound. However, if you want a minimalist lifestyle, subpar reasons or things that aren't quite as important need to go away. If you say you are busy all the time and that you have a friend who is okay and who's nice, it's time to say goodbye. Simple as that. It doesn't mean you have to break up with this friend. It doesn't mean that you can't have them in your life at all. But if you're finding yourself strapped for time and you're working really hard to get this person into your social calendar because they're okay to hang out with, you don't have a problem with them, but they don't really add much to your life, they gotta go. If you outgrow a relationship, you can let it fade. I know that's hard to do and it's uncomfortable, but we are changing beings. We're constantly evolving and we have different needs and we're in different places in our lives. Good friends don't need constant watering. So even if you have someone in your life who's a tremendous amount of fun and they're totally on the same path as you and you really want them in your life, if they're requiring so much of your energy and taking away from the things that really matter to you, that's a conversation that needs to be had. Also, it's not just these individual relationships, it's groups that we belong to. Maybe you're in a book club and it's kind of fun to get together with those folks. There's no negative feeling toward them or the group and you like it. But again, this isn't about evaluating if something is good or bad, if it has some value or no value. Sometimes some value isn't enough for your time at this time in your life. So while a book club might have been working perfectly for 2 years ago and might work again in 5 years, if you have other things going on that are making you feel busy and overwhelmed, where does this stack up in the list of relationships and where you want to spend your time? Also, if you don't read the book, why are you going to the book club anyway? If you're involved with groups that have these sort of homework assignments, again, If it doesn't rise to that level of importance, it doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean it won't become important at a future time. It just means it's not important to you right now. Relationships are tremendously important. Everything I said about friendships applied to romantic relationships and family members as well. Finances. Let's not get into the whole money thing quite yet. There's a lot to say about having a minimalist money system. But just at the very top level here, keep in mind that a minimalist lifestyle includes how you handle your finances. The quickest way to save money and therefore have more money is not to buy things, or it's not to have tons of things that need maintenance and that need repair. A really high-level tip about finances is to know yourself. If you forget to pay bills, use autopay. If you never know how much money you have in your bank accounts, try using an app like mint.com to give you a snapshot every single day. There are a lot of ways to manage your money, but the best way to manage your money is the way that's best for you. Another quick tip is to have 1, possibly 2 days a month that you focus on your finances. So whether you love personal finance or you hate it, for a minimalist lifestyle, we try to be as efficient as possible. And so having a financial process that is really, really focused and predictable is key. Just make sure that you take some time, not just to work on your finances, but to think about it in a holistic sense. So there's paying your bills and making sure everything is in tip-top shape. And then there's doing some planning, some forward thinking, some investigation, and some research. These budget meetings, again, give you insight into how you're spending your money and how you're saving your money, to ensure that everything you're doing is focused on what matters to you. Budgeting can be a complex process and it can seem a bit overwhelming. My most important minimalist tip on this is don't use a complicated budgeting system. Accounting is simple: money in and money out. The more that we try to budget or over budget or over-organize that system, the more complex it's going to become, and it's going to be really difficult to navigate. Simplicity here is key. Number 3, career. Work takes up a lot of your time. And sometimes when we're planning and doing time management, we kind of think of it as the separate chunk that doesn't really count. But it does count because it's a lot of your time. If you don't like your job, start figuring out an exit plan. And I know some of us are in moments in time where changing jobs isn't really possible, and staying with the job is actually the best thing we can do for ourselves. But other than those more extreme situations, keep in mind that you have control over your life. Think about time management within your job, and then also how much time overall you're willing to spend at your job, looking at it from a wider lens. I know many of you are probably out there feeling like, no, but I have to work 1,000,000 hours in order to be successful. Well, you don't actually have to do that. You might choose to, and that's fine, but think about whether or not that career is right for you. So a minimalist lifestyle is taking a closer look at that and starting to challenge those assumptions we make about time management. If you work from home, that's great. You've just saved yourself a lot of commuting time and created some opportunities for efficiency. But you have to take advantage of them rather than letting working from home actually become a disadvantage. Setting up a clear space to work from home and also delineating the right time and time blocking yourself when you're working from home and having a close time when you're done with business for the day, very important for a minimalist lifestyle. And remember, work can be a source of pride. It can align really well with your values and your skill set and what gives you joy and confidence. So work is not some sort of add-on. It should be integrated to the degree possible with your minimalist lifestyle as a whole. I could talk about to-do lists forever. Calendars, to-do lists, time management as a whole, these are incredibly important components of a minimalist lifestyle. And I would actually say they're the benefits of a minimalist lifestyle. Minimalism helps because it allows you to strip down your to-do list just to the things that matter most to you. Your calendar, whatever system that you choose to use, just won't be as full because you won't have that random coffee with that acquaintance that she's fine, but like, do you really need to meet with her? I don't know. Once you know how work fits in, calendaring becomes a lot easier. Basically, your calendar should just be filled with the things you really want to do and some things you have to do. I hate going to the dentist. I have to go to the dentist. Me not going to the dentist would be way worse than going to the dentist for a cleaning twice a year. So that's on my calendar. It's not super fun, but I would not have it any other way. So our calendars might not be full of joyful, exciting, exuberant things, but let's be really, really mindful of what we include. We've talked about this with finances, and it really plays in your to-do list and your calendar, is knowing yourself. If you were always late to things, and you know who I'm talking to right now, then you need to spread things out on your calendar. So there's no sense in putting things on your calendar that you're gonna have to cancel, that you're gonna be really late to, that you're gonna be rushing to, that you're gonna be feeling stressed about. Not worth it. I don't care how much you want to do all of those things. A minimalist lifestyle says we live in abundance here. If your life is so abundant that there are that many things you really want to passionately do, fantastic. That's a wonderful life to have. Also, you can't do all of those things because then you're going to start complaining about how busy and stressed out you are. So this is where we're trying to find some more balance. Without getting into detail about what systems or technologies or apps or even paper planners to use, this is all you really need to know is design a spec list, okay? You're just designing what features you need in a system to work, and listing out all the features that you find to be troubling, not helpful, distracting for that system. But I'll tell you, the more complicated the system, the more difficult it is to maintain and to use. So when you write that spec list, make sure that you're getting a system, an app, even just a plain old notebook that really fulfills the basic requirements and don't have a lot of bells and whistles and ifs, ands, or buts attached to it. One component of a spec list might be whether or not you need reminders. If something's on your list, are you going to look at that list and always remember? Or do you need something buzzing in your pocket telling you like, oh, hey, you have an appointment now? That would be an example of a feature that you either need or you specifically don't need and it wouldn't be useful to you. These are just 4 areas where a minimalist mindset and lifestyle can help. So when it comes down to it, minimalism could just be your stuff, but it can be so much more. We'll be talking way more about all of these topics in future videos, so be sure to stay tuned. For more information about minimalism and making your life easier, be sure to subscribe and like this video if you liked it, and I'll be seeing you soon.